Antonio and welcome to my backyard truck builds.
So just a recap from last time. If you remember, I told it's been stuck for 2 years. My mechanic said it wasn't really worth the effort of looking into the engine and rebuilding it. Rockers were snapped at the top, not only the cam belt, so quite a bit of damage there, interference engine. And seeing as I did have some of the parts for it, like we said, because I was going to do the timing belt before it snapped and I had a rocker, we decided to go for it. So we put on the actual timing belts. As you can see, we timed them all in, making sure that everything was to the specs it should have been. All the timing marks were right and everything else. And from there, then we actually put on the rockers. Here we can see again the rockers, putting brand new shaft on with some rockers that I did have anyway as a spare. So it was worth trying it all. So once it was all tuned in, all done, all set, all to specs more or less, we then just tried to start it up for the first time. And successfully it started up, but I only had it running for a few seconds or so because obviously there's no water or anything in it, and it wasn't really worth taking the risk again. For anybody interested more in detail to know how I actually put the timing belt on, got the timing marks and everything else, and put the rockers on and adjusted them, all the specs and everything, just revert back to the first video that I actually did and it will give you everything you need to know. Before I decided to put the radiator in, the air box, the intercooler as well temporarily, to keep the engine running a little bit longer with a bit of water in. I know it hasn't got the water pump running, but at least it's got water in the engine block, sorry. So to keep it cool, I'll only be keeping it running just for a little while, just to make sure it does work. But you can see from here, this front cross member is really bad. Somebody's gone to the extreme of actually trying to use foam to fill it in. So rotten. So this will have to go. So after this, we'll see. But I need to get it going first, make sure we can run for a little while. It sounds right. And then from there, change all the ancillaries we have to, water pump, everything else, and cut off this front end and do it again. It needs repairing. Well, the radiator, not exactly in the best of conditions, really. I think this is the original one from 97. In a bit of a state, but it does still hold water. So for now, just to get it running, you know, and keep it going till we actually get a new one on, it'll do. It'll have to do. Well, as you can see from here, due to not having any more bottom mounts for the radiator, to put the radiator on, I've had to actually get a couple of clamps, bit of wood, just to keep it in position really. You can see I've put temporarily, we've got the airbox on, the intercooler and everything. Like I said, the pump's not mounted, but we'll be careful. We won't run it more than necessary. I just want to see it tick over nicely, that's all, and to make sure that everything's working right. So we're going to start her up. I'm sure she's going to sound just a little bit rough when we start off. That's more than normal on these engines, if you know them anyway. And I'm going to put a little bit of throttle on just for a few minutes, just to get it warmed up a little bit. And then we'll see from there how she starts to sound. The actual smoke that you can see here at the back, after a few minutes, did clear out and everything was absolutely fine. On the dashboard, you'll actually see the alternator light. It's normal, it's on, there's no belt running it or anything. It's just running off the battery at the moment. It does say there's water in the diesel filter, which I'll have to look into. I think the wires are off. The other light's just a seatbelt one, so just take the throttle off and she sounds absolutely fine to me. This is exactly how she used to sound, if not better, before she snapped the cam belt. After about 7 or 8 minutes, I decided to switch her off and on again, let's say, just to make sure that she did start on the button every time. And she did, not a problem whatsoever. We'll just give her a few little revs to see how she sounds. And that's it for now. Need to shut it down, make sure we don't overheat it now until we get that pump sorted out. Time to clean up the pulleys, give them a good scrub, make sure they're nice and clean. As you can see here, use the drill, clean them out. Even the covers as well, for the new belt covers. I've had to clean them up. You can see on this other one here, there's a hole. That's where the actual belt actually went through the cover on the top. Well, for the moment, it's been raining nearly every day for a week. We've had some really bad storms and thunder and everything else, so it's been really bad. So I haven't been able to do much. So I've just put on what I could as videos. Like I said, I've been busy doing other things, but we'll get all this on and sorted hopefully within the next few days. And I'll be cutting off the front, to be honest. I'll be getting the plasma cutter, taking the lights off, and all this front end will have to go. We'll replace it all with a totally different front end. Like I said, I want to do a one-off on this one. Like I said, cutting it all off using tubular sections. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping the square lights, but I've got some different ideas. It'll definitely not be looking like the front end of an L200 anymore. Okay, till the next time, bye. Oh, you can say something or no? Well, it's time to take the dog out for a walk a minute. Like I said, you can see from here the storms have been really bad. Trees are down here in the park where I take Rocky out for walks and things in the woods. So that's the problem when you're working outside. In the next few days, if the weather doesn't really get any better, I'm going to start making a relay fuse box for the actual small Pajero. I've already got the bits and everything, and it's something I can build inside. I was going to put it here next to the two twin batteries that it has, but there's not really enough room to really put it in. So what I might have to do is cross over and do it on the other side, just behind the airbox here. There's plenty of room. I did want to save this space, but maybe I don't have an option. Maybe it's the only place I can really put it in. That shouldn't take that much room anyway. On the side of the wing, just bolted on, so it should be okay. I already started to wire up all the connections on the switches and the relays, as you can see. And this, I downloaded this image. The box should look something similar to this when I've actually finished with it. All the lights from the front, from the actual original fog lights, to the actual LED lights on the top. As you can see here, they'll all be going into that fuse box off the second battery. I've got lights on the top as well, as you can see here. So there'll probably be some more lights on the side as well, because when we go on to the search and rescue, it's important to have lights all the way around the truck itself. And again, inside in this corner here, I've decided I'm going to be putting a compressor as well that I've already got, a Via Air 2-gallon compressor. And again, that's for airing down the tyres and everything. So there's quite a few things that are going to go actually onto the actual fuse box. I already started inside to put the switches in, as you can see here in the centre console. I'm trying to keep them all together so everything, let's say, is nice and neat and tidy and all controlled from one side. Even the extra lights inside, there'll be extra lights inside the bonnet too. Well, I'm really hoping on my next video we'll have some lights on the Pajero so we can finally go out in the dark and do what we have to do. The weather gets a little bit better so we can start trimming down that front end and rebuilding it really in the way we should. Hopefully by then maybe I might get my radiator and my water pump. We'll start putting everything back together again, working our way around the front end. Till then, goodbye.